the pinnacle of their capabilities. So mentoring is also where both the person we call the mentor, who is the one supporting who we call the mentee, where they mutually recognize the need for personal development. So there has to be mentoring, there has to be both a demand and supply side to mentoring, meaning there has to be somebody who wants to be mentored, who recognizes the need to be mentored, or who is able to benefit or who can benefit from being mentored. And there has to be somebody who is willing to give back, who is willing to support, to pull somebody up, who recognizes that he or she has something that he or she can pass on, he or she has a role to play in other people's life, he or she has the knowledge, the experience, the expertise, the skills needed to pass on to people to that other people will find useful as they navigate the complexities of life. So mentoring involves learning, somebody learning off you. Mentoring involves coaching somebody on how to navigate things, how to get things done, how to become a better version of themselves or the best versions of themselves. Mentoring also involves setting good examples, letting people see how they can go about life, how they can live life. It's also about role modeling, having somebody you look up to, having the capacity to dream of wanting to be somebody or be like somebody in the future. Many of us growing up, I can speak about my own personal experience. Growing up in Nigeria, I had uncles who are well educated, and the way my parents spoke about them, and the way whenever I see these uncles and these aunties, they inspired me. I wanted to be like them. So they were mentoring me even without necessarily sitting down with me to talk to me, to coach me. Just seeing them and wanting to be like them and them setting good examples was enough inspiration for me to want to be like them, to want to succeed, to want to do well, to want to do the right things. So I sometimes find myself trying to mimic them, trying to, to follow their life path. Of course, we are all different individuals. Our journeys will be different. Our circumstances will be different. But nonetheless, the same set of principles that, all successful people do share the same set of principles, irrespective of their of their peculiar journeys and circumstances. So mentoring represents a form of what we call dynamic learning, which puts emphasis on experiential learning, meaning people who have seen it before, people who have passed through before, who have done it before, having the opportunity to pass it on, to share their experiences, what worked for them, the kinds of challenges they faced, how they navigated it, trying to share those experiences. One thing is to be literate, another thing is to be educated. To be literate is to be able to read and write. To be educated is to be able to apply what you've learned, the principles of life, principles or theories of, things you've read, to be able to apply them in real life situations and get the kinds of outcomes, achieve the kinds of goals that you set out for yourself or you envisage, or positive goals that you want to get out of it. So mentoring is not just both learning, coaching, and role modeling, but also a more performative, what we call performative model is people seeing you, getting inspiration from you, your actions and inactions constituting a learning resource, a source of inspiration, a source of learning, a source of coaching for other people to follow suit. So mentoring will naturally involve somebody who is well experienced in anything. And this experience that we talk about is not peculiar to older people. And we can talk about that later on. But it is about people with experience. Young people can be experienced in certain things more than older people nowadays because we're in the information age, we're in the digital age. But generally, mentoring involves an experienced individual offering guidance, offering support to others who are coming behind them, who are yet to experience or who are yet to get, to the level where they feel comfortable enough to be able to share uh, their own knowledge. So, the key element of mentoring: one, learning. It's opportunity, is leading. You lead somebody through a pathway. You walk them through the roadmap of life. You take them through the alleyway. You hold people's hand and say, "Don't worry, you'll be fine. Don't you know? Don't be too anxious. Maintain a stable uh, mindset. I have been through this. Let me lead you through the difficult period." It's also about coaching, sitting people down, telling them what they need to do, how to solve problems, transferring knowledge, problem solving skills to people, how to overcome challenges. It's also about inspiring others, telling them positive stories, telling them stories about achievement, telling them stories of you know how you overcame or challenges at different stages in life, telling them inspiring story, positive stories. The Alhamdulillah, in Islam we have so many positive stories in the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us stories about people of old, about prophets that have gone by. We also have from book of hadiths, and the sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and his companions, a lot of inspiring, stories that inspires us to want to do good, to want to attain the best iman possible. Mentoring is also about learning. Here, generally, people tend to assume that learning is one way, that is the mentee that learns from the mentor. But no, we have evidence now, scientifically, proven, assessed, and evaluated that actually learning is both ways. Both the mentor, they learn of each other, and I'll come back to that process of learning. And then the final one is motivation. Sometimes people have the talent, they have the knowledge, but the spirit is low. They have a laid back attitude. They are not self motivating, and sometimes it takes somebody else to want to give them that push. So all of this is all what is encompassed in mentoring. Now, mentoring is not new to us in Islam. Alhamdulillah, from what our Imam has told us, uh, one of the key essence of Islam, the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is to foster, it talks about, the Quran talks about, this, the ties of kinship, not just within family, but also in the community, in the Muslim Ummah. And Islam actually tells us that the bond of Ummah is stronger than family bond, where that family bond is not the bond, that practices Islam. So mentoring in Islam is also about the art of brotherhood and sisterhood, being together for one another, supporting one another, sharing pain, sharing love, going through difficult period with one another, being happy together, suffering together. That is part of the spirit of mentoring. And we find evidence of this in Islam. Similarly, when it comes to setting and performing good examples, that is what Islam preaches. When the Prophet, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was talking about, describing talking about the Prophet in Islam, Allah described the Prophet, for the first thing Allah uses in describing the Prophet of Islam is about his conduct, it's about his high moral standard. It's about, even before the why came, started receiving revelation. The Prophet Sallallahu among his tribe in Mecca, he was known as a trusted one. He set good example, he lived good examples. The same thing in mentoring is also in Islam. It's about people who have higher standings, have knowledge, higher experience of life, and hopefully higher iman, setting good examples, sharing those good examples, being a source of inspiration to younger people. So there is mentoring for professional development, but even in Islam, even in our religion, you know, there is a huge scope for mentoring, and there is mentoring that goes on all the time. And in Islam, mentoring is nasiya. Sorry, I'm not an alpha, but I do have some little knowledge. But nasiya is giving sincere advice that is consistent with, you know, uh, the teachings of Islam as we find in the Holy Quran and also in Hadith and the practices and sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ and his companion. So mentoring is also about signs and character of all prophets and pious Muslims. We look at all the stories of the prophets that have gone by. They all give sincere advice. They all encourage people. They inspire people to want to do good, to believe in Allah, and also, follow the commands of Allah. The commands of Allah in the Quran says that Allah says, "Do not spread mischief in the land. Do not spread mischief in the land." Allah repeated this several times in the Quran. What Allah is telling us is that if you do not spread mischief, it means you spread goodness. Give glad tidings. That is what, part of the task of the Prophet and all the prophets of Islam that have gone by, and also our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that we give glad tidings, meaning that we set good examples. We give, the things we say, our actions, and even our inactions are all about goodness. So and even the religion of Islam is also Nasiha, is there to give glad tidings, good news, you know, to all Muslims, to all mankind. Specifically, you also look at some, there are different separate places in the Holy Quran where Allah speaks about you know the bond of we Muslims. If you, for example, you see Surah At-Tawbah, Quran 9 verse 71, where Allah says, also the believing men and believing women are allies. By allies, Allah means that they are helpers, they are supporters, they are friends, they are protectors, they are mentors of one another, meaning we Muslims, we support one another, we teach one another, we help one another, we support one another. And when we talk about mentoring in Islam, sometimes we tend to want to segregate or create a dichotomy between our spiritual or religious life and also our professional and career life or development. No, they are quite intertwined. If you develop good ethic, what good work habit, you pray your salat on time, you sleep on time, you wake up on time, you can easily transfer those good work ethic, work habit, you can transfer it to your professional and career development. And vice versa, there are certain good habits, good trainings that we've learned through our professional and career development that we can bring back into our religious life that strengthens our our faith, our iman, and the rest. So mentoring is not new to Islam, it's not new to us Muslims, it's what we do all the time. Many of us, our grandparents, our uncles, our aunties, imams and members of the Muslim community, they have been there, taking us through, supported us at different times, and they are still doing it. So it is what we Muslims do. It is the essence of Huma. We Muslims and we Africans, we live communal life. Our values are all communal. And once you have a communal mindset and communal principles govern your life, you are doing mentoring, even though it might not be a formal mentoring program. So I wanted to just mention that. Uh, there are certain myths and fictions that people tend to have about mentoring, which are not necessarily true. One of it is that we tend to think mentoring is a Western thing, it's a white person, white people thing, and all of that. No, it is embedded in our religion. It is also embedded in our African culture. It is not a Western thing. In fact, mentoring is much more embedded in Islam and African culture, far more than Western um, way of life. Secondly, we also tend to think of mentoring as largely a career development, workplace thing. No, it's also central to our religion. And mentoring both in religion and career development can be two sides of the same coin. We can eat our cake and have it at the same time. And alhamdulillah, when I listened to one of our mothers, our sisters who spoke earlier on, she emphasized this. This is the opportunity for us as Muslim organizations for us to be able to combine both. So as we think and plan to put in, this mentoring program, we should we should be conscious of connecting the two, sides of it, not just for career development for our young ones, but it's also to also support their religious and spiritual development as well. And then we also tend to think mentors, have to be old, yes, because they have to have experience, and our mentees have to be young people, yes. In many cases, that is the orthodox traditional template for thinking about mentoring. However, it need not be that, and we can have this conversation whether we can have what we call reverse mentoring, whereby even older people, older members of the community are also learning from the younger one. And I'll give you a very small example. You know, science has proved it, the research has proved that people over 50s tend to struggle with technology. They are a bit technophobic, and they've had to call their children a whole, to say, okay, come and do this for me. I can't, how do I sign into this Zoom, or how do I, do this, do that on the computer, on the phone and all of that. And it's often our children, our young ones that take us through this. That is also a form of mentoring. So what it means is that we can also learn, and our young ones can support us as well, especially as we navigate through the digital age, through the information age that we are at the moment. So mentors don't have to be necessarily be old, but it has to be experienced people. Nowadays, because of IT, many young people are exposed to a lot of things, and they have experience in solving certain aspects of life, including navigating technology. Now we cannot live our life without technology one way or the other, and that is where our young people have advantage. But in any case, I do understand that the purpose of what we are speaking about today is about supporting our children, our young people, to be able to, keep their focus, be the best version of themselves, achieve career, development for themselves, and be responsible people, responsible members of the community, and to take them off the street, win them away from negative tendencies, get them not to join gangs and all of this, for them to devote their energies away from the multitude of distractions that are bound at this point in time, and direct their energies towards more productive engagement, for them to focus on their career development, for them to overcome, the lack of drive, lack of motivation that we see ravaging through many Western country, societies at this point. Then there are also misconceptions that it's only young people that benefit from mentoring. No, research has proved that even mentors, by being involved in that relationship, trying to pass something on, trying to motivate others, they also derive benefit. And I'll come to that later on. And then there is a tendency to think mentoring is only for males and boys. No, our girls, deserve to be mentored. In fact, girls have more, historically for us as Africans, girls enjoy more mentoring than boys. Why? Because growing up, our mothers, God bless them, um, God bless our mothers, they tend to prepare our girls very early on to be responsible wives and mothers. Prepare them before they go into marriage, into even before they become mothers. They will start telling them, "Oh, this is how you do this. This is how you do that. This is how you greet your in-laws. This is how you take care of the kitchen. This is how you take care of the house. You have to be a good wife, a good mother. You have to look after all the things, and that your husband cherishes and all of that." So mentoring is not just for boys. We should also mentor our girls as well. Even though informally, based on the way our culture is, our girls already are mentored informally in becoming mothers, but we should also begin to mentor them for professional career and career advancement purposes. So we should not just limit the mentoring of our girls to the home front. We should also mentor them to be professional achievers. And then we also think mentoring is elitist. Oh, it's rich people, it's educated people. Oh, no, mentoring need not be elitist, and it's never elitist. So even in our modest Islamic organizations that we have here in UK, among we can organize small mentoring activities in our own little way. Sometimes it can just be matchmaking. Okay, I have somebody in the Muslim community who is an engineer. I have young people who want to be engineers or who are thinking of being engineers. Let me connect them. Let them start talking to this person who is already an engineer. You can tell them, the things to do at different points of their life, roadmap, things to avoid, things to do, things to not do. You can, this person can begin to enlighten them. So we need not think of mentoring as something that is only successful, you know, or rich people do. No, we can also do it. And then we also tend to think you're either a mentor, a mentee. It is not fixed. You can be a mentor to somebody, but you be a mentee to another person. And the same person can slip in and out of being a mentor and mentee. So, for example, like I said, when it comes to career advancement, our young people will naturally be mentees to us. But when it comes to technology, we are, the road becomes reversed and they are the one mentoring us. So we should not think of mentor and mentee in a power dynamic or, as part, thinking that, oh, I'm the mentor, I'm this. No, we have to be humble to say that on certain things, I'm a mentor, on certain things, I can be a mentee. So um, so who is a mentor? Is a person who shares knowledge, who shares their skills, who shares their experience to another people or to other people or group of people for them to be able to also achieve progress. A mentor is a person that serves as a role model that manages the relationship that says that, oh, young person, I think this is what you need. I think this is what you don't need. More or less the one that directs the mentee in terms of what to do and what not to do. It's also somebody that encourages them, that gives them motivation, that becomes a critical friend, somebody they can go to outside of their parents to say, oh, I need, you know, a second opinion or a third opinion. That person is the mentor, the person they feel at home with, the person they feel can be trusted, the person they feel will give them honest view, honest opinion, the person they feel will not mislead them, the person they think, will can even understand their own worldview. Apart from sometimes our children do say that, oh, daddy and mommy cannot just understand, they don't know what I'm talking about. So there is always good to have somebody outside of their school teachers, somebody who knows their parents, who knows their culture, who is part of the Muslim community, that can be a listener to them, that can listen to them, can say, okay, what is it? So that mentor is that person that does all of this. It's also the person that nurtures them. Nurturing in terms of, our young people have flowers, we have to put water, fertilizer all the time, we have to expose them to sunlight. If we use the analogy of a flower, of a plant, so we are like the farmer that plants the seed, we nurture it, and we get it to the point where it can be harvested. When it becomes harvested, it means our young people have become successful and they become a source of pride to their families, but also to the Muslim community. The mentor is also the person that teach. He or she teaches our young people the right values, the right way, to becoming, the careers that they want to have, for them to achieve, the careers that they want to have, but also to be responsible Muslims, for them to know that you can be a, high flying achiever in your career, you can be as well be a good Muslim at the same time. That being a good Muslim does not mean you cannot achieve career progress or, be the whiz kid or, the wizard that you want to be. And also, the mentor is somebody that offers mutual respect. Sometimes, our traditional way of life in Africa is all power embedded, meaning we just issue command and all of that. But the mentor relationship is different. It's not based on power, it's based on respect. I listen to you, you respect me, I return the respect. So in mentor relationship, respect is reciprocal, but the mentor is the one that guarantees that mutual respect, that does not talk down on these young people, that gives a listening ear to these young people, that gives that young people a sense of, you know belong, in a sense of you really matter, your opinion matters, I want to, feel at home, you also have a say in this, that asks them, their own view on issues, not just tell them what to do. You also have to hear our young people out and then guide them, direct their attention. Finally, like I said, it's also a mentor is somebody that responds to the learner's need. Young your mentee has come to you to ask for what can I do about this, or I'm having this issue. You have to be the one to respond to say, okay, don't worry. Let me, this is what I think you should do. Or let me find out. I'll get back to you. And you actually genuinely get back to that young person. In your, even though we are all busy, but once you give the commitment that you want to be the mentor to this person, it means either anytime they come knocking, you are always there for them. Even if they don't come knocking, you check on them to say, okay, how are you doing? I'm just finding out. How are you making progress? So the person that responds to the learner's needs or understands the learner's needs or actually figure out what might be happening to your mentee. These are the roles of a mentor. And who is a mentee? These are in the context of our conversation so far. These are our young people who receive the knowledge that we want to pass on, who want to receive the skills that we have that we want to share with them, who we want to, who is able to benefit from the experience or experiences, life experiences, career experiences, religious or spiritual experiences that we have, who want to receive it, the kinds who are willing to accept or receive the guidance that we have on offer that we want to give to them, and who we feel and who also understand and accept that all that we are proposing or that we offer to give can help them to become the best versions of themselves. So a mentee is usually somebody that sits down to create a vision statement to say, you know what, I think I like Mr. X, or I want to be, you know, a medical doctor or an engineer, or I want to be a scientist like, XYZ. And that is their vision statement where they see themselves. Secondly, there are also people that set personal goals. For you to be able to be this, where you see yourself 10 years, 20 years from now, what are the personal goals year on year, level by level that you need to achieve? You have to be able to set it. And then once they set it, a mentor comes in and say, okay, maybe you are jumping one step here, you are jumping two steps there, but your vision is fine for you to, help them, sit down with them to translate this vision statement, to translate these personal goals into what it means in terms of daily activities or yearly, achievements that they can take off. So a mentee is also somebody who, having accepted that they can be mentored or they require mentoring or is willing to accept mentoring, knowing fully well that he or she can be further guided by somebody much more experienced, goes out to say, okay, I need to speak to my mentor at this particular point, takes their problem, their issues, their challenges, takes it to this mentor to go and ask questions, more or less somebody that asks questions to say, okay, I have these issues, I have that. So, mentees also are the people who ask questions. They are also the people that listens back to, once they ask questions, they listen and they take in the responses from their mentors, and they try to put the advice given by mentors, they try to put it into practice. And they are also the people that reflect on actions taken. So if they do exams or they do regular training or screening, or they are involved in one competition or the other, sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. That is a fact of life. That is how life goes. But there are people that reflect, what did they do right, what did they got wrong, how can they improve in the future. They take this back to their mentor to see, I've thought of what happened. This is what I think I got right, what I think I got wrong. What do you think? And the mentor can, offer further guidance and advice as part of this. So why is mentoring important? We've spoken about it a lot. I think the first two speakers have mentioned it. I've also, spoken about some element of it. But let me just, for us as Muslims, but also combining both the religious and the career development side of things together, you know, mentoring is important for us as Muslim community and also as Muslims. One is to fulfill our Islamic obligation to give advice, nasiha, to seek and transfer knowledge. The Prophet ﷺ says that knowledge is a lost property of Muslims, and we have to find it wherever it is. So one way of finding knowledge, is people who already know, to pass it, to those who don't know. So part of the obligations and the importance of mentoring is that it helps Muslims to seek and transfer knowledge, all types of knowledge, not just professional and career development knowledge, but also Islamic and spiritual knowledge. But secondly, mentoring is also important because as Muslims, Islam is not an event, it's a process, it's a lifelong journey, and we keep learning, trying to be the best version of ourselves at any point in time. And this means that even somebody who is 80, who is 90 can still be mentored one way or the other because you never stop learning until you die. And we never stop trying to be the best version of ourselves as Muslims as much as possible. Mentoring is also important for strengthening and growing the Ummah. When all our young people become successful in their careers, it's a pride to our Ummah. It strengthens our Ummah. It takes our Ummah right to the next level. It means we can have a lot of tech savvy people, a lot of successful, people in their choosing profession, in our Ummah. This has multiply effect down the years, over generations, on the quality of our human, the quality of families that we raise, the quality of children that we raise. It just takes things to the next level for us as Muslims. Coming out to the spiritual side, mentoring is also, good for self and spiritual growth of our young people, to guide them, draw them away from the street, draw them away from social vices, from antisocial behavior, make them to become responsible adults and individuals, but also people who are, who are pious, who have iman, people who are constantly reflecting on Allah and the commandment of, of the Quran, trying to put into practice the teachings of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But quite importantly, mentoring is also important in this day and age, far more than any other period, because of the complexities of modern world and even Western societies. I mean, without going into specifics, we know how complex the world has become for even adult, for even so-called experienced, older people like our fathers and mothers. We are struggling now. Put our young people into that situation, who are still trying to if we, with all the experiences that we've had, we are struggling to even navigate the complexities of contemporary world, what about our young people? So mentoring is very important to prepare our young people to cope with the complexities of modern world. And it's also important for mental well-being. Mental health is a big issue now. Many people get lost, become agitated, develop all kinds of trauma, and all kinds of situation because of some of the complexities of the contemporary world that we are talking about. So mentoring can also be an important resource to give reassurance, to give support to those who need it, even when people are not clinically pathologized or diagnosed as having any specific mental health issues. Mentoring can actually be a preventive tool when it comes to mental health, well-being. It helps people to maintain those who already have good mental health, for them to maintain it and not fall by the wayside. And of course, it's good and key to education and career progress and career development. Our young people, for them to be high flyers. They can be high flyers. We Muslims are high flyers, and our children should be high flyers. And we should do all we can, including mentoring and other support programs that we can put in place for them to be high flyers. There is nothing that stops us Muslims from being high flyers. Islam is founded on knowledge and excellence, and our young people must must aspire and become high flyers in their choosing career path. And finally, personal development, the individual, for them to be good, you know good men, good women, become responsible adults, be good citizens, for them to be positive role model. So I know we are running out a bit out of time, so I'll try to finish in the next 5 to 7 minutes, so we have a bit more time. There are different types of mentoring. We can have formal kind of mentoring programs like the CNMO and all our Muslim bodies are seeking to do, but informally we also do mentoring. Either way, it doesn't even matter. The important thing is for it to happen. There are quite a variety of ways in which people mentor. We can have one-to-one mentoring, which is typically the most popular and traditional ways of mentoring. But now there is also group mentoring. Group of young people who have similar aspirations. Maybe they all want to be scientists or engineer, and you find one or two experienced mentors who are already qualified engineers, speaking to them and taking them through the journey, supporting them, motivating them, inspiring them through that way. So you can also have mentoring group mentoring as well. Then you can have peer mentoring. Sometimes we think we all need that experienced person to come in, but sometimes getting all our children together to sit in the same room and talk about their aspirations, talk about what they think they need to do for them to become successful can also be a form of mentoring as well. So we should not just think of mentoring in a one way, linear, you know, top down kind of initiative. No, mentoring can take different, forms. And of course, thank God to COVID. Now there is mentoring as well, so people can mentor online. So you don't even have to see people to mentor them. You can mentor people online. It means we can also recruit mentors for our young people, even when those mentors are not in UK. Maybe they are in America, maybe they are in Australia, in Germany, or even in Nigeria. We can recruit mentors and they can do the mentoring online. And I talked about reverse mentoring before, which is even when mentors become mentees and mentees become mentors in the same way. So, you put together young people with experienced person, and that experienced person cannot even, you know, is struggling with IT, and the young people come in to say, okay, you do this, you do this. Okay, let me teach you how you do it. You do it this way, you do it that way. And that is also a form of mentoring. But what I'm saying here is that mentoring, we should leave the space open for cross fertilization of teaching, of learning, of of ideas as well. So how do we do mentoring? The first step, one, sincere intention on all sides. Those who the organizers, the mentors, the mentees, everybody must have sincere intention. We are Muslims, we must purify our intention. Secondly, is we find a suitable match or program, you know, who wants to be mentored and those who can mentor, you know, we find a suitable match or we design the program. Third, we should not forget to undertake background checks, do a life audit. Who is this mentor? What has he done? What has she done? All the safeguarding issues that come with working with young people, we should never forget that, because that is very, very important. Whatever we do has to be within the ambit of the law here in UK. Laws guarding working with young people or doing stuff with young people, we have to make sure we follow that. So we do the basic safeguarding checks. Even if we don't do it, maybe doing this background, what do they call it? Check. But I mean, let's ask around, let's sniff around, our proposed mentors to know that everything, we are not putting our young people in any danger whatsoever. Then let's, once we do all of that, let's clarify the purpose, the goals, roles, and responsibility. So with everybody, the young people, the mentors, everybody should know expectations about what is to happen, how it's going to take place, where it takes place, the format it's going to take place, and the rest. And then we'll come back to our firm commitment. Are you really committed? Will you have time for this? Can you take these young people on? If they come to you, will you find a space to respond to them? Because there's no point linking people and then they want to speak to you as mentor, you are not available. So we have to affirm that commitment. And for the young people as well, we cannot link you up with somebody who is very busy but who has agreed to do this, and you are not taking, the person is waiting for you at a choosing time or date of meeting and you are not there. So there has to be commitment on all sides. And we have to make sure our young people do not waste people's time. And then the next thing is to identify modes and activities. So between the mentors and mentees, how is it going to take place? Is it going to be e-mentoring? Is it going to be hybrid, in which sometimes they meet on Zoom and MS Teams online, and then at other times they meet up, in the masjid, or they go out together, maybe meet up in maybe blue water, or go, do socials, or they go for, to go and watch a football match sometime. Because mentoring is not just about talking about career. Sometimes you need, to cross it with socials. You need to to mix it up with other activities as well in the community, so that it becomes a total experience, not just this thing about career, 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 career. Career is important, career is the ultimate, but there are, for you to be able to achieve that career objective, there are other things and other pathways through which you get to the same destination. And then have a supporters class of trusted like minds. It's always good to have a pool rather than individual, to have a pool of mentors, such that if one is not available, the other one is available. If the young people cannot talk to this, they can talk to that. So it's always good to have that in place. And then we should encourage our young people to reflect on positive changes and keep improving. So when once the mentoring, they start receiving that mentoring, there has to be a constant reflection on our young people as to how it's going. Are they enjoying it? Are they seeing positive changes? What do they like about it? Do they think needs to be improved, and all of that. And so there has to be a feedback channel through which our young people are always telling us whether things are going well or otherwise. And then even with that, our young people should keep receiving ongoing support as part of that mentoring program. Once it starts, it's keep going and all of that. And where things happen, where they find their mentors to be, you know, incredibly useful to them, we should encourage them to be thankful, to give thanks, to say thank you, to say Jazakallah Khairan for the effort, for the inspiration, for the support that you've given. And then we should challenge our young ones to inspire others as well. Give back. If you have received, you should also give back. That way we keep the chain going and it becomes part of the custom in our Muslim community. So how do you recruit a good mentor? Well, this person has to be experienced, somebody who has attained a senior level in their chosen field. You know, they have a lot of knowledge to share. They have the professional qualifications, of course, but also the experience that goes with it. They have very good reputation, and this has nothing to do with gender. It can be male, it can be female, and we should, you know, it should be about what they bring to the table. Um, Somebody who they have the networks, even where they don't have answers, they can direct our young people to people in their network, or they can find out extra information within their network. And there are people who genuinely enjoy speaking and learning, you know speaking to young people, and who enjoy young people learning from them. They have to be people who are accommodating, who are good listeners. They have to be people who create time out of no time. They have the people who have the strong will, the strong commitment to want to do this. Um, what are the benefits of being a mentor? My 1 minute, please. Let me just answer my door. 1 minute, please. Apologies.
Yeah, no worries, go for it.
Yeah, I'm back. So, what are the benefits of being a mentor? So, if you are a mentor, what do you stand to gain from doing this? Like I said earlier on, there are also benefits that a mentor can gain from relating to young people. Our mothers and fathers, God bless their soul, that have passed on, they used to tell us that when you get to a certain age in life, you continue to be relevant because you surround yourself with young people. There's a lot of logic in that, a lot of wisdom in that. So the benefits of being a mentor is one, you also validate or develop or sharpen your own leadership skills, meaning that you are able to bring people together, young people together, listen to them, give them the tips they need to succeed, and see them become successful in life. So you validate your leadership skills, you become recognized as an advisor, formally or informally, and then you learn to clearly communicate. Because if you cannot clearly communicate, young people will not understand you. So the more you mentor, the more you become clearer in your thought and your ideas. You speak clearly. You know the right word in the right way to pass the message across, both in the spoken form, but also in the performative sense of it. And then you also, by talking to young people, they challenge you, they ask you interesting questions, sometimes difficult questions, and then that helps you to gain new perspective, new ideas. It forces you to go and find out more information where you don't know. It also helps you to see how the new generation of people are seeing life, are seeing things, are interpreting things. And then finally, it's a way of achieving some innermost sense of fulfillment, sense of, yes, I think I'm giving something back, you know. And also it gives you an idea of the kinds of people emerging from our Muslim community, to say, oh wow, we have a lot of high flyers in our community. We should start, Alhamdulillah, we can be very hopeful about the future. We need not to be despondent about, you know, our community in years to come. So those are some of the benefits. There are a lot more benefit to it, but these are some of the ones I've been able to pull. And then for our young people, the benefits are just endless. Like I've mentioned, and the speakers before me have also mentioned, they learn workplace culture. Sometimes people have gone to school, they don't know the real life situation about how to work, how to build relationship, how to behave, how to navigate all the plot and subplot and all the things that happen in the workplace, you know, all the side talks and all of these things. How do you cope with all of them? We can explain some of these things to our young people so they learn the workplace culture. Then, of course, their skills development, their career aspirations, networking opportunities. Once you bring young people with somebody who is already in the field, they know each other, they are in each other's orbit. But even among the young people that we mentor, we are also linking them, and so many good things can happen from that. Alhamdulillah, maybe our boys and girls begin to marry each other, so we safeguard our women going forward. But beyond that, it's also networking, people sharing ideas, resources, information about opportunities, about jobs, about training, about so many things that can happen from such networking opportunities, and then potential for promotion. Sometimes, I've been mentored by senior colleagues who told me, hey, you're going to need this in 5 years' time. Start doing it now. Because if you don't do it now, if you start in 5 years' time, it's going to be too late. So if you want to get promoted 5 years from now, you need to start doing certain things 5 years ahead of your promotion. If somebody does not tell you that, you won't know. So we can and help our young people to achieve their career promotion because we can tell them very early on the things they need to do ahead of time. And then it sharpens their problem solving. Me sitting as a mentor among young people, telling them the things I've done, the challenges I've faced, how I've been able to navigate it and solve the problem, you know, already give them an idea. If they were to find themselves in similar situation, they can tap in from what somebody else has done, even if they're not going to follow it or the situation will not be exactly the same. But knowing how somebody else solved a particular problem can be a source of inspiration for them. And of course, knowledge transfer. We are transferring knowledge, transferring experience, transferring expertise, transferring positive attitude, transferring success stories to our young people. And these are the countless benefits of mentoring to our Muslim community. One, spiritual growth, strengthening of our bond of brotherhood and sisterhood, effective learning and first-hand knowledge sharing through mentoring. Our young people gain practical insight and guidance and advice about life, about work, about career. It increases their confidence, it improves their self-esteem as well, and improves their interpersonal and communication skills because when they speak to mentors and among their peers, you know they are also practicing their communication skills, which can be beneficial for them once they start work or in their career later on. And also is a source of empowerment. Information is power. Information is empowerment. When somebody sits you down to say, don't worry, if you want to be a consultant, surgeon, neurosurgeon in 10 years' time, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. And you have clarity about the steps of where you need to do and where you need to go, the steps you need to take. It can empower young people for them to to be high achievers in their choosing careers. Finally, is having a trusted partner to discuss more confidential challenges and goals in one career is very important. It keeps our Muslim young people within our Muslim community. They don't have to go to a Christian pastor or somebody or even a Christian, a non-Muslim because they want to achieve career progress. Everything stays within our community. I will leave it at that. I'm sorry if I've taken longer than planned. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much for the amazing and very, very clear lecture. I've been able to pick up some few points myself in terms of from the benefits of mentoring that you mentioned. Obviously, it creates lots of networking opportunities, which is very true. Also, it gives room for knowledge transfers, which is about obviously giving back to the society, which is also an act of charity, which is very much encouraged in the Deen of Islam. And also, you also mentioned a very particular point in terms of time management. Mentors making their time available for mentees. And it's also going to be very crucial for mentees also to be able to make sure they do not waste the time of mentors, because mentors are very busy people. in their professional capacity or in family capacity. So thank you very much for that. And we'd like to take some question and answers, please, if you don't mind. Is there anyone who's got any question for Dr. Lawale?
Yeah, assalamu alaikum. My question is just, is the mentor scheme purely for Muslim brothers and sisters, or is it extended to other religious beliefs?
I will have to let Brother Maruf Adeya and all the executive to be able to answer that. But my inclination is that this is for the community. But I don't know whether they have other plans in relation to that. I will let the executive, CNMO executive, to answer it, please.
I very much want to say it's for the community, but also I'd like to throw this question to the likes of Brother Said. Brother Said?
Yeah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's a very good question. Yes, I want to borrow this adage, like we say, they say charity begins at home. Now, for us to lay the foundation, we want to focus on the community because it's something that is missing within our community, so to say. So hence, we're starting with our community first. Once we're able to attend to their needs, and then we have capacity to accommodate other communities, then we'll do so because it's part of living in the UK. But for now, we want to start with our community.
Thank you very much. Again, I think within our community, we have both Muslim and Christian as well. For example, I've invited some colleagues and some friends onto the program, and they are not of the same religion denominations with me. So that's why I'm asking that question.
I believe it can be a tool of dawah eventually. I mean, growing up in Lagos in Nigeria, I followed some of my friends to some Christian programs, training program, leadership programs. And alhamdulillah for the kind of home family I come from. But I know a few people have been converted because of that. Even if we look at the history of Christianity and Islam in Nigeria, many of our fathers, you see a lot of families in Southwest Nigeria where you have both Christians and Muslims in those families. The root of that was that at a particular point in time, many of them wanting to go to school, the missionary schools were the ones available and they forced them to change their religion. So that is an example of how programs that has to do with learning can be a tool of dawah, can be used to bring people into Islam. So, mashallah, like Brother Said said, once we get our acts together and we get this off running and it's running well, yes, we can use it to propagate the beauty of Islam. Mashallah.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you very much, Dr. Ali. Any other question from anyone else?
Yeah, sorry, me again. Dr. Ismail, how do we mitigate against people that are trying to exploit the mentoring scheme to sort of, for example, in this country, we have a situation where we have some people acting as a mentor, but they are trying to sort of our children to sort of be into bad, I would say, what's the language I'm looking for? Making them terrorists, like that sort of thing, and they're acting, and we believe our belief is maybe they're trying to mentor them, to shape them, to believe in the teaching of Islam, but unfortunately their motive is otherwise. So how do we address that? How do we mitigate against that? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I believe you can still see my slide. If you check here, the third step, when I said steps in doing mentoring, I said undertake background checks and do, all the necessary safeguarding precautions that are needed. Once we do a live audit of who the mentors are, we ask around, we know them, they should be people we know. We can't just go and bring people we don't know. So we have to ask around, we have to check who are these people, what have they done in their life, what have they achieved professionally, but also in terms of character. Of course, we can't be doing DBS for this, but if we can do DBS, let's do it. But we have to do the safeguarding. It's very, very important. We cannot, put our children, our young people, we cannot put them in the arms way for any reason whatsoever. So we have to do what the law, even the law in this country requires anybody working with young people, certain things have to be done. And I believe CNMO and those who are in charge of this program, they will do this background checks. We can do it formally through DBS, but we can also do it informally. We are all Africans, Nigerians, wherever we come from. We can ask around. Somebody will know somebody who even if somebody is a Gambian or somebody is from Senegal or somebody is from Ghana, we can find out. We can penetrate, their own community, the Gambian community or Ghanaian community. We can go and ask around and check who is this person, what has this person done, what is his antecedent, or what is our antecedent. So once we do all of these safeguarding checks, I'm sure we'll be fine, mashallah.
Great. Any other question from anyone else?
Yes, Assalamu alaikum. I had a quick question. Please, Ustaz. I was wondering what advice would you give to ensuring that the sort of partnership between mentor and mentee, what steps could we take initially to ensure that it's one that's fruitful, it's one that it's beneficial to both parties? Is there maybe questions you'd advise us to ask, or just ensure that the pairing is one that works for both people, for both parties involved?
Thank you. When putting together a mentoring program, there are certain basics. There has to be clarity as to the mentoring framework that is to be used. That will also involve some monitoring systems you put in place. For example, when a mentee is starting, ask them to create their own vision statement and personal development goals that they want to set for themselves, right? And within that, say that in their relationship with their mentors, over maybe every quarter, every 3 months, maybe they have to have at least 1 or 2 conversations. Okay? It can be more than that, but these are the minimum standard or the minimum steps to take. Meaning 1 or 2 conversations, it might be virtual, it might be in person. Okay? And then over a 6-month period or over a year, 6 or 9 month period, the organizers will ask those mentees, how is it going? How many meetings have you had? Are you benefiting from it? We also go back to the mentor to say, oh, our mentor, thank you for your time. I hope you are enjoying this. How are the children? Are they taking in? Are they serious? Are they showing up? So there has to be these monitoring mechanisms that we build into the mentoring program to be sure that one, mentoring is taking place, because it's not just enough to say, okay, I've linked you to mentors and then 2 years, nothing happens. To be sure that the activities, certain set of activities take place. There has to be a system in place for monitoring that those activities take place. Yeah, it might not be exactly 100%, but at least this mentoring must not exist on paper. Things must happen. People have to stay. People have to meet up. Whatever is agreed to be done has to take place. And of course, maybe CNMO, maybe once in a year, they can also do, a review. A review of it, maybe send questionnaires or some little survey, online survey to all the children who are part of this mentoring to say, it doesn't take more than 2 or 3 minutes to just answer basic questions. How many meetings are you enjoying? Do you like your mentors? What do you like about it? What you don't like about it? And they do it and we collate the result. So there has to be this back-end effort to make sure that the mentoring program takes place beyond just the announcement that we make that we are launching it. There has to be, steps put in place to make sure, we are monitoring things for all, not just in terms of the output. We also want to be sure that, our children are not at risk in any way at any point. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good. Thank you. In order to stick to time, that will go today. We can take maybe just one more question. The final question, please, from anyone before we move on. Any other question? The final one.
Oh.
It looks as if that's it. Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Lawali, for taking those questions and for having me today. And moving to the next thing on the agenda, which is to obviously invite mentors to please give a quick 2 minutes introduction of themselves. And I'd like to call upon Brother Abdul Wahid first, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So as it said, my name is Abdul Wahid Bisriyu. I'm a mechanical engineer by education. And after some time in the industry, I've moved on as a civil servant. And I'm currently a housing professional with specialism in homelessness for a local authority. I hold the level 3 certificate in housing management. And I also hold a certification in the Prince 2 Foundation. Outside of professional life, I'm passionate about Dawah, and I volunteer for different organizations and Islamic activities. Currently, I work with FOMWA UK, and I'm their lead for their youth activities. I'm the chair of the youth conference that they hold at least once a year. I also work with Muslim Education Center, and I host their public conferences, as well as their weekly fiqh classes for brothers. Asalatu-wise, I'm a member of the mission board for Arida organization, and I'm currently pursuing a degree in Islamic scholarship. I will leave it there because of time.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Brother Abdul Wahid. Brother Sharif Ogola, are you ready, please?
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yeah, so my name is Sharif Ogola. I work as a technical architect, cloud security in the financial space. So my interest is regarding working in the cause of Allah. So in order to please Him. So and I like helping others to achieve their goals in life, and also I also help people to become the better version of themselves. Then again, I like advising and listening to people, especially people that are confused in the career space, so in which they don't know what to do. So I like giving my own guidance to them and help them tread that path to their professional career. So, and I like calling others to what is good as well. And also calling people to the right path. And also I engage in a very meaningful conversation, and I like attending any of the Islamic, going to any of the Islamic gatherings. So I'm a good listener. So I just like helping people all around. Yeah, that's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Brother Sharif. Next on the list, Brother Ridwan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Ridwan Obade. I'm a pharmacist. Also, I've actually transitioned into the pharmaceutical industry, practicing regulatory affairs. So for those that don't know, it's just regulating drugs that's on the market to ensure that it's safe, it's of quality, and it's useful for all patients in the UK and Ireland. I'm a father of 2 girls. I have a wife as well. So mentorship isn't something that's it's quite. I have 3 younger brothers as well. So in terms of mentorship and sort of leading by example and guiding is something that I'm somewhat familiar with. So I look forward to taking on that task within the wider community. So also to our parents that have young children, inshallah, if you feel that your child, your daughter, your son is in need of any sort of advice in any capacity, if you could bring them forward to the executive, inshallah, we'll see what we can do to help them with their lives and their pursuit of Islam, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, inshallah. Thanks, brother. Next on the list, Sister Mutiat. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alaikum.
My name is Mutiat Ibrahim. I'm LES advocate and advocate for quality education as well. And majorly, I focus on social impact and volunteer. So if there's anyone that is willing to volunteer or make a social impact project in the community, inshallah, I'll be willing to help them.
Inshallah, thank you very much. Next, Sister Kudra.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Kudrat Adigon. I'm an accountant and I've got a degree in accounting and finance from the University of Kent. And I'm also a member of ACCA, which is an accounting body. I'm a chartered accountant. And I feel like this mentorship opportunity program is an opportunity for me to sort of share my experiences with younger people or anyone really looking to sort of get into that sort of profession and even Islamically as well. And based on what Doctor said as well, it can be both ways. There is something to share and there is something that could possibly learn as well from the mentees. And just sort of sharing knowledge and letting the younger people understand the fact that there isn't just one way to achieve a certain career path, just opening their minds and to the options available. And inshallah, I hope it will be a beneficial experience for us.
Inshallah, thanks very much, Sister Kudra. And finally, Sister Barakat.
My name is, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, sure, we can hear you now.
Yeah, my name is Barakat Lawal, and I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to speak with you all today as a business analyst with decade of experience. So over the years, I've had the privilege of working with many talented individuals and organizations across a range of industries. I've worked with National Youth Service Corps in Nigeria for over 8 years, which gave me the experience of mentoring and coaching youth. And then I've also started my career in the United Kingdom as a work coach in Department of Works and Pension, which also expand my experience as a mentor and as a coach. And presently, I'm a senior business analyst with HMRC. So, and my goal here is to help mentees that are interested to develop their skills and knowledge and then see how they succeed in their various line of business. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. And finally, I'll also introduce myself, Abdulhafiz Badmos. I work as an IT data consultant. I do anything that has to do with data. And after 6 years of marriage now, I can say also my wife is now a data faithful as well. If there's any way I can help any mentee, I'll be pleased to do that. And so obviously, you've all had the opportunity to hear all the mentors speak. Is there any question anybody would like to ask any of the mentors? So far, so good. Any questions for any of the mentors? It seems that will be an easy one. So we'll move on to the next thing, which is going to be the closing speech. I would like to invite Brother Saeed to please do that.
All right, thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, that's good. That means everybody can hear me. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen for the success recorded today. We thank him for making it possible that the ideas came onto us and then we were able to call people together, like you have seen, brothers and sisters who have signed up to this program here they've introduced themselves. So on this note, I just want to firstly thank our guest speaker, Dr. Lawal Ismail. He has never failed to answer us whenever we say we have a need relating to something within his profession. And we pray Allah to continue to give you strength, knowledge and wisdom to continue to deliver in your workplace as well as in the community as we continually do so. We also thank our community as well for their support at all times in making this possible for us to serve Almighty Allah. And I've been asked to give this closing remark, and I will not give this closing remark without mentioning that our doors are open. We are still looking for more mentors. So you could be from any field, and like you have heard from our doctor, you have to have a lot of experience. You're maybe senior, or you have that time that you can share with people to mentor them and hold their hands. We are not saying we're going to make it a full time for you. We'll work with you based on your availability. And then to give you an idea, like the doctor said, this mentoring benefit is a two-way thing. And this has been, reported by many other organizations who have said, for instance, employees who are involved in mentoring programs have about 50% higher retention rates in organizations than those not involved in mentoring. And 93% of mentees believe their mentoring relationship was useful. Again, let's see another benefit. They say again, for those who are being mentored, it is linked to improved academic, social, and economic prospects. And for those who are mentoring, the relationship can build leadership and management skills, expand a mentor's professional network, and provide an empowering opportunity to give back to the community. And I cannot address this point other than what I've said now, the point mentioned, without saying, in some organizations, they've also found out that young adults with mentor or with a mentor are 55% less likely than their peers to skip a day of school. That's for those in schools, maybe college or university. And they are 78% more likely to volunteer regularly. So those that have sought mentorship, they are 78% more likely to volunteer regularly. And again, they are 90% more likely to be interested in becoming a mentor themselves. And again, this will be the final point, 130% more likely to hold leadership positions. So young adults with a mentor are 130% more likely to hold leadership positions. So what are we waiting for? So at this point, we want to ask our leaders, our mothers, our uncles, everybody in the community, please, if you have any mentee that you know, or mentees perhaps, please send them our way. We cannot have this robust opportunity for the community and we don't have people to use the service. So we need mentees and we need more mentors as well. And we pray Almighty Allah, accept this from us, not uja against us and for us on the day of Qiyamah, and make our life dealings easy for us and make our provisions bounteous for us so that we'll continue to do good on the path of Al-Islam. I want to thank everybody for listening and give us this opportunity to meet here today. I'll hand over the reign back to Brother Allah, who was leading us today. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Brother Said. I'll finally like to thank Imam Maruf very much for your time today. Jazakumullah khairan, sir. And also Dr. Olawale, thank you very much. You've made today a great success. And also I'd like to thank everyone for attending today, for making it a success, because there's no point talking without people listening to whatever we're saying. So thank you very much everyone for coming today. Jazakumullah khairan. I will meet again shortly, inshallah.
Jazakumullah khairan.
Wa alaikum. Brother Said, salaam alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh.
I registered to be a mentor as well, mashallah.
Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you very much for confirming that. I think because we
Mashallah
started with
for
prayer.
to everybody.
Yeah,
And
because
thank you for
we started with prayer. Oh, sorry, Amir.
Jazakallah khairan, doctor, for that.
Yeah.
May Allah reward you.
Alhamdulillah.
And everybody that is present today. Really appreciate everyone. Jazakallah khairan.
Alaji Oyeko, you can give us closing dua.
Assalamu alaikum. There's a few questions in the chat.
There's a few questions.
People asking
there
about.
Are a few questions there.
One sec, I'm just having a look. Not really questions per se, all about someone talking about audio. Yeah, I'm not sure we missed any question.
Someone is asking if there is a form to sign off as a mentee.
Okay.
And another person is asking how they can get in touch.
Okay.
Because they have 2 mentees as well.
That's good. I'm typing the email for CNMO in the chat box, but simply put is admin@cnmo.uk. Admin@cnmo.uk. However, we shall be sending out the Google form for you to fill your information later on. But if you feel free, send email to this email address and you'll be attended to, inshallah. And just to let everybody know, I think before we forget, Brother Ridwan Mebude is the scribe for the committee managing the CNMO mentoring hub, while our women affairs officer is the chair. That's Ajia Mebude is the chair, while Brother is the scribe for the committee. But if you send your request to this email address, admin@cnmo.uk, will attend to your interest. I'm sending that in the chat box.
It's right there. It's there.
Oh, is there already? Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Any other question from anyone before we round it off with a closing dua? Okay, no question.
No, I think that's Alaji addition is raising
his hand. I didn't see it.
Yes, I think so. It's dropped now.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I just want to commend CNMO for this event and the organizers, and for our dear brother who came around to come and talk to us about mentoring. My takeaway today is that there's no limit to knowledge seeking, that even myself, I can see becoming a mentee, especially from that my sister in HMRC. That's the organization I work for before moving on to another department. I think I would need to fill that Google form and show my interest. But on a very serious note, I want to advise the organizers to also try to reach out to our other sub-Islamic bodies to promote this cause, so that we bring into focus many of our young adults that would definitely need this service. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Haji Orekoya. Yes, we are doing that in the background. We are speaking with the heads of organizations. There are links to our various organizations, and we've been having meetings with them to see how they can signpost them towards us, and then we can do the necessary things afterwards. They just need to hand them over to us, particularly the mentors and the mentees. They are the major stakeholders we are looking for. If you're able to do that, the rest should be left to us, inshallah. Alaji Additional is back.
Alaikum. Initially, I was not raising my hand. I was just giving up for, condition cap involved. I can see Alaji Adeyi said I raised my hand. I just want to follow, let me just follow the last speaker. This is a very good, commendable, what do you call it, a very good, impressive thing. But can we just cultivate the culture we'll be using before innovation of Zoom by writing a letter to all the organizations on this particular event, not only the social media. I got it on the social media, let me just tell you. And I've been asking some people that don't know they are doing something. I think CNMO is a coordinating organization. It's not a select organization. We are coordinating all the Islamic organizations. And every organization have their views. This program, I can only hear it and give you commendation. I don't need a mentor. The one they are giving me in the office is unnecessary, because I'm about to get to where I'm going to retire. I've been working for over 40 years in my life. So no mentor you want to give it. But for the young ones, those ones that are in the year 11, those ones that are in year 13, that they don't know what they want to do, those are the ones that need it. And then we have youth organization across all the organizations. Please don't limit it to social media, because it's very easy for everyone. Just drop it on the social media. No. Send a letter to each organization in time and tell them that they want their youth to come to this program. I expected to have over 500 people on this line getting in for our youth, so that they can gain from the presenter, happen to be a very good ambassador, you know. So that's just only, you know, my own observation on Graduate on this one. Lórí àǹfààní lẹ́fún àwọn àdékùn.
Thank you very much, sir. Your points are noted. I will work on them as suggested, inshallah. If there's no further questions or suggestions, is Alhaji Ekon still there? Because I mentioned them before. Because we started with dua, we should end it with dua again.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh.
I'm actually a little bit indisposed. Can you ask somebody else to say the closing prayer? Okay. Although I just want to say briefly how excellent this program has been. And I echo everything that the previous speaker, Mr. Alabi Adeshino, just said. So please ask somebody else to say the closing prayer. Thank you.
Okay. Alhamdulillah, thank you very much, sir. Brother Munir, please, the Deputy Amir is here. Can he do the closing dua for us?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
First of all, I need to apologize for coming in late. I was a bit tied up somewhere. Alhamdulillah. All praises due to Allah, the Lord of the world, the Master of the Day of Judgment. He alone we worship, and from Him alone we seek help. We ask Him to guide us to the straight path, the path of those who He has bestowed His blessings, away from those who He has caused. Amen. And we all recite Surah Al-Fatiha, please. Is the opening of the Quran, and same time is the closing. So whatever we have opened, Allah would pave way for us to walk through it to fulfillment, Bismillah ta'ala. So on that note, can we all recite Surah Al-Fatiha? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد وسبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. صلوا على النبي الكريم.
Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Jazakumullahu khairan, everybody.